Because I couldn't quite work out what you were saying makes football management, because a long time you were working with Peter Taylor, who,
yes.
who advised on or even sort of arranged for the purchase of players.
Peter had the ability to establish who could play and who couldn't better than anybody in football at his period of time.
Even you?
Yeah, well, that was his forte.
Yeah.
He used to go out, find the players, I used to sign them, do a little bit of management, coaching, put a side together, and win a few trophies.
Now, why were you never made manager of England? Because you were the
I think they were a bit wary of me.
Yeah.
And I think they thought, and they were right in thinking this, I think they thought I was going to take over Lancaster Gate.
Right.
And wanted to run it my way.
Yeah. So would you have won things if you'd been manager of England? Would you have won the World Cup, the European Championship?
I would have tried very best, my very best, just like everybody has since they've been in a job. But it's down to styles as well. It depends on what makes you different and what doesn't.
Yes.
In other words, you're looking at me as though you don't understand, you know.
I'm hanging on your every word.
Ah, good.
And watching your every fist, just in case you take another punch there.
Talking to somebody who supports Arsenal is very difficult to get through to.
Yes.
And despite the superb George is doing at the moment, well, Arsenal have been a little bit pedestrian over the years. The style of play.
What do you mean they walked the European Cup Winners' Cup last year? You mean?
Well, you know,
that's kind of pedestrian.
Well, it's about time. Inevitably, you know, the law of averages gets you around.
Well, let's not get involved in bickering. But
why not?
They win a trophy every year.
Do they?
George Graham.
Yes, he's doing remarkably well.
Championships,
remarkably well.
FA Cup, League Cup. Yeah.
I know.
Yes. But for the ordinary fan like myself, it's all a bit strange at the moment, because there's all this things going on with football, whether it's Grobbelaar, whether it's Venables, whether he's, you know, even you were mentioned in the sort of court case about, you know, Brian Clough likes a bung and all that kind of thing. I mean, what do you say about that? Is there corruption in football? Or
no, I don't think there's anything more dodgy than any other walk of life.
Yeah.
I think it's as clean as it's ever been. Yeah. And the odd case comes up where there is a shadow of doubt about certain things. Yeah. You've mentioned Bruce Grobbelaar. Yeah. Nobody can sit here being reasonably intelligent and suggest to me that one particular guy can dictate a score in present-day football. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, but he could let in a couple of goals if he's
Of
asked
course
to.
he could. If you watched television last night and you looked at the goalkeepers, they all let in goals.
Yes. But he can decide to let in goals. I'm not saying he did, but that would be an option for a goalkeeper to say, well, I won't make the save that I could have done.
Yes, perfectly true. But nobody can say yes or no to that particular type of thing.
Now, you've always had a sort of image of being a bit sort of idiosyncratic, is the polite way to put it. I mean, did you play that up?
I'm not quite sure what that means.
Well, you're a bit sort of unusual, a bit sort of weird, I suppose, is how you come across sometimes. Yes.
Well, you're not too clever on a Friday night in my living room, are they?
No, but is that an image? Is that an image that you've deliberately cultivated as a bit of fun?
No, it's just me.
It's just you.
Just the same as the book that I spent a few months on. That was just me.
Yes.
I got into a wee bit of trouble talking about Liverpool and what happened at Hillsborough.
Right. Well, do you regret what you said there? Because it's
no,
a very
I don't regret
serious
it
tragedy,
at all.
obviously.
Don't regret it at all.
No.
Regret it if I caused any upset to anybody and resurrected any heartache and all that type of thing. But it wanted saying. I was there. When I say it wanted saying, that sounds a wee bit pompous, but it's not meant to be. I was there. I was taking part in the match. I was writing a book, and I just gave my opinion. It's as simple as
the way it's come across in Liverpool is that you're basically saying that the Liverpool supporters brought the tragedy on themselves.
Well, they did.
Yeah, well, is that something you think is a diplomatic thing to say or a polite thing to say?
Well, I'm not sure. I never thought about it being diplomatic or otherwise. It just wanted saying. And
well, it doesn't matter if you say something about a football match.
It's not coincidental that it happened at their particular end and the gates were open and their particular supporters came in. Nobody else came in. Yeah.
But I mean, you can say sort of a few outrageous things about a football match and it's a bit of a laugh and it.
Yes.
But when we're talking about 96 people or whatever it was dying, then you've got to be pretty careful that you don't cause offence.
Yes, of course, and I was careful. John Sadler, who ghosted the book, actually watered that particular passage down to such an extent. It was incredible and a good piece of journalism, because I would have got into more trouble if it had have all gone in.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Right. Well, as I say, over your career, and in your book, you certainly describe some unusual ways of going about things. There's one incident you were describing going on an aeroplane trip to play in the Middle East, and one of your players, Birtles, was complaining a bit about it in the coach to the airport, and you just sort of said, "Get out the coach. That's it. You're not coming with us."
Well, it wasn't a particularly popular trip for a start. It was 5:30 on a Sunday morning.
When he was left on the road with no money or anything, he had to just
Well, I'm not to know he didn't have any money on him for a start.
And then you get to the airport and you cuffed round the ear somebody. Yeah, sorry.
Birtles, let's talk about him.
Okay, so Birtles, yeah.
He was rabbiting on to such an extent, and we're not renowned for good travellers, footballers aren't, and me in particular.
Yes.
And nobody likes getting up on a Sunday morning, having worked all week and shooting off somewhere in the Far East.
Yeah.
And he's at the back of the coach, and everybody could hear him. And he was setting the tone of the trip for a start.
Yeah.
And he was a smashing lad.
Yeah.
There was no need for him to go on like that, but I couldn't bloody stand it any longer. And it was a case of the lights went red, get off and get home.
But then you got to the airport and you started complaining about some kids there and you thwacked round the head somebody who you thought was the father.
The lad I clipped, I thought it was his kids, actually. And I'd asked him once, being a nervous flyer, to just keep control of his kids on the aeroplane, you know, and stop them climbing around and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then they were at it again, so I just give him a little touch on the...
Well, you came on...
And I said to him, I said, I've asked you once. He said, they're not mine.
And you told your son to thwack into Tony Adams. That's another of your controversial things. You told him to
be
foul
fair,
Tony Adams.
Foul him?
Yes.
No, I just said if he keeps niggling at you the way he is, just try and cut him in half. When you see Tony Adams, you know, week after week after week, it's a natural instinct to want to stick him on his you-know-what. Even you must admit that, being serious, because he's not, like you and I, particularly handsome. And when you see him rabbiting on the field and...
You're talking about
Tony,
the Arsenal captain!
Oh, I know, it's terrible. England captain as well.
Yeah,
it's absolutely terrible.
Yes.
He's a bit like a dog in our street. He's good at giving it, but he's not good at taking it.
I don't know if you've still got it with the football. You certainly know your dogs. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, Brian Clough. Okay, very good. That's all we've got time for. Just make sure to thank Richard Wilson, Matthew Parris and Brian Clough. Nick Harris, good night, good night.
After the break, a Friday night date with Saturday night star Wigfield.